Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Better Life with Dr. Pinkston. I am Dr. Mariane Pinkston, and we are in continuous today. I've got back-to-back shows featuring a bariatric surgeon from Oregon who is changing lives. I love this. We had a riveting conversation on the last show, so if you didn't see it, go back and watch. This is Dr. Erica Vella, and she is, again, with bariatric surgery, but very prominent in nutrition and metabolic medicine and trying to change lives, not just from a surgery perspective, but from a nutritional perspective. And so I know, Dr. Vella, welcome in again. I know today we're going to talk microbiome. What the heck is that?
I'm so glad you asked. There's actually this funny internet meme, and it's this gentleman sitting on like a park swing, and he's on his phone looking sad by himself. And the tagline at the bottom is, when nobody at the party wants to discuss the gut microbiome. And my friend sent that to me because we're just really nerdy about the whole thing.
We are, but there's a good reason.
There's a good reason. Yeah. The microbiome is what really solidifies why nutrition matters, why nervous system regulation matters. Okay, so this is a very, we have an entire universe worth of microorganisms that inhabit our body. Hello, is your mind not blowing?
It's exactly. Sure.
More bacteria than we can count stars in the sky inhabit our body.
Right.
The other really neat thing about it is that it's not just these microorganisms and their names, but it's what they functionally do. So they single-handedly control every single biologic process in our body through their own genetic mechanisms. Again, mind blown.
Exactly.
I wasn't taught this in medical school.
No.
In medical school, granted, that was, 12 years ago.
It was a virus. It's a bacteria. You need an antibiotic. Get rid of it. It's bad. It's overtaking you.
Exactly. So this is what we get excited about in medicine. We call it a paradigm shift because everything we knew for the last 50 years is now wrong.
Thank you.
And this happens a lot in medicine, but it takes 50 to 100 years for these major things to happen. So this is a really exciting time to think about health, to think about your body, and to really understand, intuitively, okay, we just have to be smarter than our advertising. We have to be smarter than our fast food. We have to be smarter than capitalism.
Right. And I always say that the same industry that is trying to save us is the same industry that's trying to kill us.
Okay. That's a whole other conversation.
Seriously. But it is. So all of that, it affects us, though, again, back to the microbiome in our intestine.
100%. Yeah. The same company that makes your aspirin, your ibuprofen, is the same company that makes your high fructose corn syrup.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's simple.
Just bury that. So the microbiome is this really exciting, it's almost like an airport, right? Like you have all these airplanes coming in. Maybe some of them are FedEx, some of them are like shipping delivery, and then you're shipping stuff out. And so right here at the gut, you're shipping and receiving food from the body, information. Food is information. Food has value, which is why you want to eat all the colors of the rainbow, every type of food known to man, beans, lentils, legumes, whole grains, which is contrary to what some naturopaths, if people come in with a lot of, IBS type symptoms or inflammation, they'll ask them to abstain from all of these foods. Mm-hmm. I think it usually is conditional. So there's some good thought process there, which is those foods are hard to digest. And if you're having leaky gut symptoms, you don't want to be feeding the hard to digest foods.
And there are a lot of genetic modifications, like with gluten and whatnot. And so things have changed. So you said if information is coming in, that is a package with a language nobody understands.
Exactly.
So, and that's what gluten is. So, but you can eat things that don't have gluten and they don't have to be genetically modified. So they're still good for you.
And also, not everybody is responding to gluten the same way. So that's where the nervous system piece gets really exciting. And this is where what we're going to say in these 27, now probably 20 minutes is not going to satisfy listeners. Right. Go to my Google Dr. Erica LaVella YouTube. Yes. There's a 4-part series, Primordial Paradigm. I will explain it in exquisite detail with pictures, evidence-based, and your jaw will literally hit the floor.
Absolutely.
But, so yeah, these bacteria are also changeable based off of our environmental conditions. Mm-hmm. So what we know is if you eat McDonald's, I'm just picking on McDonald's. It can be any fast food, it can be donuts, it can be whatever. But you know, if we're picking one, you know, if we're eating really processed, that's called ultra processed food. If you do that for a week, your gut microbiome is like greatly affected, totally crushed. If you were to take the next week and eat, you know, all these plant-based foods, all the colors of the rainbow, and, you know, home-cooked things, right? We don't even have to go organic or non-organic, just home-cooked stuff. Your gut microbiome responds instantaneously. So every 20 minutes, species of bacteria die and have already made a new generation.
And so when people tell me, you know, I finally decided to go on a diet and I ate really, really good for a week and I felt great. Ta-da. There it is. Yes. And it happens. Yes. You've changed over your microbiome. Yes. I heard a statistic one time that really, that was mind blowing, is that you take a Z-Pack, one Z-Pack, and you ruin your gut microbiome for 2 years. It takes you 2 years to recover. I don't know if that is... I believe
it. Do you follow Sarah Gottfried at all?
Yep, absolutely.
She has a very similar story like that.
Yep.
And so she tested her own microbiome coming out of, you know, a double mastectomy, breast cancer kind of thing. And she was on antibiotics and she studied how long it took her to recover. And it was a long time.
Yeah. Nutrition is really great in that too.
Yes.
So how, you know, people take a ton of probiotics and, you know, just what is the truth about that, probiotics and
So again, we live in a modern industry where there's all these companies and supplements and marketing. And again, this is medical capitalism, which it's fine. I'm a sucker for wanting to do the things as well. Sure. But here's the deal. Humans have been alive on this planet for 100,000 years. Mm-hmm. Long time. Mm-hmm. And humans have learned to prepare food in a certain way, fermenting food in a certain way, foraging for food in a certain way. Your probiotics come from the soil and from the air. They do not come from a lab. They don't come from any of these places. So one of the best inspirational stories around how eating fermented foods and living this lifestyle, because it really is a lifestyle, is Sandor Katz, The Art of Fermentation. So he shares in the story about being diagnosed with HIV, going and living on a hippie commune in the Ozarks, and then starting to eat and live off the land with this community and then fermenting food. And in the very short period of time, he had negligible effects of HIV in his system. His immune system had rebounded so much.
Absolutely.
And so there's a huge connection between our immune system, our immune function, the gut, your largest organization of collection, if you will, of lymphatic tissue is right there underneath the gut cell wall. And then to link it all back to the nervous system, and this is really important in my YouTube series, every time the body experiences stress that makes cortisol spike from the, it's corticotropin releasing hormone, right? It's cortisol from the adrenals, but the corticotropin releasing hormone. So simultaneously, as your cortisol is being triggered, that stress response gets to the gut level and histamine breaks open tight junctions.
Yep.
So now you also see people talking about histamine intolerances from food, which is where a food isn't super fresh. If it's been in the fridge, even a little bit, you know, when we shop at the grocery store, our food has been in cold storage.
Yeah, for a long
and it's starting to decay. Like we're eating not fresh food, even though it looks fresh. And so people are starting to really react, and all of these we just never thought that we would, So the fresher your food, the better, the more natural it is coming from clean soil. I say clean soil because, organic dirt that's not pesticide ridden or like appropriately composted. And all of these themes about nurturing soil health, nurturing your own microbiome, all of this stuff is very positive from a climate change perspective too. Healthy soils actually help extract carbon from the air.
Yeah.
So it's just very beautiful. So
do you have any advice though for people about, because I don't have time for a garden and to do things like that. I don't know much about my farming community around me.
Yeah.
How do people get access to that and then not spend $1 jillion? And so organic labels, and you said very clearly it does not have to be organic, because most of the time organic is not really organic. It's a purchased label and you only have to meet 70% criteria. So you can have 100% organic food in the regular section because they can't afford the labeling organic on it. People don't understand. So how do we get access to good food?
So look up community supported agriculture.
Okay.
CSA. So CSA is a local farm, and this is true all over the whole country, but it's a local farm who does a produce box deliverable to you, or you pick it up at a location. So that's number one. That's amazing. Where I live, there's like 10 or 12 different farms that do this. I chose this place in the country because of the food security.
Awesome.
Like, just so you know, I'm total nerd when it comes to this stuff. And then likewise, you can do the same thing for cheese, milk, animal products, and usually when you go direct to farm to you, it is less expensive.
It is. It's one because it's a local person just selling to the neighbor. And there are co-ops all over San Antonio for eggs and raw milk, and so you can break into it. It's just so hard, I think, for people to find it. So I love that CSA.
So co-ops is the other thing. Either like a grocery store, local food co-op, or something. But all co-ops are not for profit. You usually buy in with a membership, depending on how good the store does. Like my local one will pay me a dividend. I get, discounts by being a member. And then everything is community supported, all the farms and everything like that. So it's a really good program
your community
to be a part
too successfully. It's a great cycle.
I would say to be on this like agricultural food journey, it kind of feels like a big political move too, a little bit, just because of how the dynamic is. So that might energize you. It might not energize you. The other thing is, aside from seeking out these things, the most simplest thing you can do is, farmers markets. Sorry, I forgot to say that. I'm sure every city by now has a farmers market. So shop at your farmers market. And then you can find the farmers from there. You can ask them about CSAs. Right. But if you don't have access to any of that, or if that feels unattainable, eating 30 different plants a week. So diversity in your diet actually promotes different growth and different genetic function. Remember, their life cycle is only 20 minutes. So if you're eating a variety of nutrients, again, food that has value, then you're actually enhancing the genetic diversity, the genetic health of your microbiome, which is going to go straight to your brain, because remember, there is a gut-brain connection. Those hormones that are involved in appetite regulation, sleep, etc., anti-inflammatory things, and you're going to grow.
Depression, anxiety.
Yep, serotonin and GABA, which is anxiety, anti-anxiety hormone, all that's made right in the gut. The more fiber you eat, the thicker the protective lining on the gut is. So even in states of stress, your histamine response isn't going to break it open because you have a nice thick protective layer there.
Absolutely.
So fiber, 30 different plants a week, probiotic food. I have to specify food because that's just how humans have naturally had it. If you take too many capsules of probiotics, it actually kind of has a negative effect because
can populate small bowel.
It's like population overgrowth. Yeah.
It does.
And so so you want this kind of, you want diversity. You want like a jungle, a rainforest. You want the Amazon rainforest. I was quoted once saying, you want your body to be a 5-star hotel for these inhabitants.
They don't serve McDonald's at a 5-star hotel.
No, everything is well chefed.
Yeah. And it's not hard. It really isn't. Now, I do address a lot with people about their energy over, meal prepping and buying food and big spends and, but it's really, again, meeting people where they are, like we said in the previous show. But people have got to understand the connection. I'm glad we're really focusing on this. So we are getting ready to hit that little break. Don't you love it? Tell me where we can find more information on microbiome and you and what you do.
Yeah. So, the microbiome depends on how scientific and heady you want to get. I try to really simplify the science, but also show it and demonstrate it really well. So I would say my 4-hour workshop is really good. I am also on several podcasts speaking about these things in various venues, but I'm very public facing because I want the public to really understand it. So just Google Erica Vella microbiome, YouTube, check it out. Additionally, so again, I'm a scientist. I Google Scholar everything. I'm constantly
not
reading
Google.
papers.
Google Scholar.
Yeah.
Google Scholar.
So if you're scientifically minded, check it out. From 2016 to 2023, every year the number of studies on this doubles. It's been exponential growth. It started at a few hundred, a few thousand, 16,000. It is insane. So I read major review articles that come up, things that have been cited a lot. The virome. So what we're learning is that the viruses, and COVID was a good example. I think a lot of people recognize, this is what mRNA does.
Right.
But viruses can lateral gene transfer, can just swap out genes with bacteria all the time. All the time. And whoa. So are we going to start eating viruses? There's scientists trying to work on that, seeing if they can implant different things.
They can be very synergistic. So I think when we die, our DNA is 70%, now remade with viral, things that are, good for us. It actually is helps us live. So we are going to take a short break. I do want everybody to know you can go and find all of her information at drpbetterlife.com. It will be available there as well as my other shows. I want to very quickly say something about Pinnacle Research, who has supported me for almost 2 years now. I'm very thankful for that. They do a lot of fatty liver research or liver research in general, but you can get a free FibroScan. 10 minutes free, look for fatty liver, just get a good screening, and then you get some great information from a GI doc right there. Go to pinnacleresearch.com. We're going to take a short break and come back on the other side.
Fatty liver is linked to 2 different situations, alcohol and diabetes or obesity. In both cases, patients can have no symptoms. In the United States, and in particular, Texas, the most common cause of liver disease in general is non-alcoholic fatty liver. Again, associated with overweight, obesity, and or diabetes. Additional risk factors include high cholesterol, high blood pressure, Hispanic ethnicity, and postmenopausal status. At Pinnacle Clinical Research, we offer a quick, non-invasive ultrasound-based screening assessment called FibroScan. This test is done at no cost to you, and we do not take insurance. The test will measure the fat and stiffness in your liver and stage your risk and development of fatty liver disease. You will meet with a provider immediately following your scan to go over your results. If you're interested in getting more information on your liver health, please call 210-982-0320 and schedule your FibroScan today. We are conveniently located in the Medical Center at 5109 Medical Drive.
Welcome back in. I'm Dr. Mariane Pinkston here with Dr. Erica Vella, and this is her second show with me, and I'm so excited. We've had kind of a back-to-back series here talking about obesity and bariatric surgery and nutrition, and now the microbiome. So mentioned something to you over the break that I think is very important. Most patients cannot deal with the cravings that they have once they start to become overweight, and the microbiome is very involved in that, isn't it?
Yes, yes, very much so. And it's even estimated that it might be because there's certain populations of bacteria
Right.
or other organisms that are maybe growing in imbalance. So like a candida or a yeast overgrowth in the gut is directly proportional to sugar cravings. And again, you have bacteria in your gut that are communicating through your immune system, communicating through your nervous system, going back up to your brain. In Candida or candida, those yeasty organisms.
Tomato.
Yeah, they love sugar.
They do.
And so
fosters diabetes. So diabetes brings on Candida, and then Candida brings on diabetes. It's just never ending cycle.
Yes, yes. And then there's also, the emotional kind of context of like how we experience food cravings too, because usually when we're craving something sweet, it means that we are also like needing love and connection. And so that comes from, at least my theory is early infancy. Yes. As you're a tiny baby and you're trying to be, neurologically regulated, breast milk is incredibly sweet. And so every time you're fed, you receive love and connection and bonding. And so it's just, again, our brains are very powerful. They have very strong memory. Emotional memory is really, it drives us all. So the other fascinating thing is that the gut microbiome has been shown to actually change how many calories we absorb from the meals we eat.
Wow.
And so I think this is the really big piece for people who are really trying to lose weight or understand that they need to be a healthier body weight. Yeah. And this is where I'm like, hey, remember all that like healthy food, whole foods, beans, lentils, whole grains, all the herbs, all the vegetables and like fruits that I keep talking about.
Yeah.
This is why you really want to pay attention and do it, is because when the gut microbiome organisms are being starved of the valuable food, so every color is a chemical compound. It's an antioxidant. It has a vitamin in it. So when our microbiome doesn't get those vitamins, antioxidants, amino acids, I mean, we could go on to all the different names of how nutrition is broken down, but every single little thing matters. Michael Pollan is one of my absolute heroes. And he talked about just the difference between like 100 calorie, vitamin C, 5 grams of plain fiber versus like a whole apple.
Right.
And like everybody knows, an apple, you get so much more energy, so much more vibrancy.
Yeah.
It's a living thing than taking all the sterile bits and pieces.
Right. Or juicing it down too and taking the way it's architecture.
Tastes delicious, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you can't have a juice every once in a while, but your body needs all the fiber. A lot of times if people juice fast for too long, they get sick.
Yeah.
You can't do it forever.
Right.
But so the gut microbiome, and I see this in iron deficiency as well. When my women become iron deficient, their body starts storing, they gain weight. And it's kind of mind boggling. But they will gain weight in that moment. And it's like, the microbiome environment is trying to hang on to every single calorie. It's like your absorption just went through the roof because it's not getting what it needs.
Right.
Fiber is another really important piece. We've been talking about hormones, GLP-1, satiety hormones, and how bariatric surgery and Ozempic work. Fiber does the exact same thing. There's no randomized control trial because the fiber industry is not sponsored by a pharmaceutical company.
Thank you.
But there is a huge, huge effect. If people can get 30 to 50 grams of fiber a day, your hunger goes down to nothing.
Right.
And
so does your cholesterol.
So does your cholesterol. Yeah.
So many benefits.
So many benefits, but it's not in a convenient pill and it doesn't come with a pretty commercial.
It might if it's Metamucil, but who wants who wants it? Metamucil is for 70-year-olds, right?
Well, and Metamucil is not a complete fiber.
Absolutely
so you have to have all the things, but yeah. So
absolutely.
Anyway, I'm such a purist. I want everybody to learn that they can do this.
They can, and it's wonderful. And I appreciate you so much. It has been absolutely phenomenal having you on. And I see you in my future, please. We would love to have you on again. At some point, I'd love to talk about the GLPs and bariatric surgery and the comparisons there, because it's just great information. People just need to understand why we're doing all this and why we need it in the first place. But we've got about 2 minutes left. Again, I'm going to ask you to let us know what we can find, where we can find you, and how do we get more on this great information?
Oh, I love it. So artofbariatrics.com is where me and my revered dietitian, Bonnie Buckingham, have teamed up and created exceptional course content.
Yes.
Regarding all of these details and how we can just take better care of our lives. We are very inspiring individuals. We also have meal plans on there, microbiome, specifically curated meal plans.
Not just suggestions.
Exactly.
But
actual meal plans, perfectly portioned for one. So you know exactly how to take care of yourself.
Right.
And, you know, at a calorie load, fiber load, protein load that is guaranteed to make you feel full.
Very well
have
rounded.
Excellent bowel movements.
Absolutely.
Cure all of your digestive issues.
Yes.
Within 2 weeks, people are like, oh, I feel so much better.
I feel better. I
And
hear it
lose
every
weight.
single time. Every time somebody does it, I hear it every single time. I feel better. It's like, now you understand why. So, and I want everybody to know that they can find all of your information by going to drpbetterlife.com. I will have yours and all these, links and whatnot so that people can find you and find all this great information. I looked it over. I was in there for hours. I loved it. And so drpbetterlife.com. So not only are we on San Antonio radio, but we are podcasted and on YouTube out there. She's got some great social media. I've got some great social media. So look for all of our links and support us out there, trying to get the good word out about the real way to lose weight and control your health and your microbiome. Just so many great topics. Dr. Vella, thank you so very much for being on, and I hope you will come with us again.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thank you, guys. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you next time.